नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, uh, uh, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Verse 1. Narada Uvacha Devadeve.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Pushti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
You have to read from text 21 onwards, please.
Oh, sorry, Mataji. I was told from 1 to 20.
No, because on the rota here it's showing 21 to 42.
Sure. Okay, I'm just going to go back to my original screen and I'm going to start 21 to
42.
21 to 42. Okay, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Verse 21. कालं कर्म स्वभावं च मोहेषु मायया स्वया आत्मनं यच्छद्राय प्राप्तं विभुर्पाददे.
Hare Krishna. The Lord, who is the controller of all energies, thus creates, by his own potency, eternal time, the fate of all living entities and their particular nature, for which they were created, and he again merges from them independently. You are on mute, Pushti Mataji.
Sorry, Mata. कालाद गुणव्यक्तिकरः परिणाम स्वभावतः कर्मणो जन्म महतः पुरुषाधिष्ठताद्भुत भूत.
After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karnavyasi Vishnu, the Mahatattva or the principles of material creation take place, and then time is manifested, and in course of time the three qualities appear. Nature means the three qualitative appearances that transform into activities.
Verse 23. Mahastastu vikurnadrajah sattvopam bruhitat tama pradana tattva bhava dravya gnana kriyatmakah.
Material activities are caused by the Mahatattva's being agitated. At first, there is transformation of the modes of goodness and passion, and later, due to the mode of ignorance, matter, its knowledge, and different activities of material knowledge come into play.
Verse 24. Sohankara iti prokto vikurvan samabhutrida vaikarikajaste chasagnya chascha tamascheti yadvida dravya shakti kriya shakti jnanar shakti riti prabhu.
The self-centered materialistic ego, thus being transformed into three features, becomes known as the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance in three divisions, namely the powers that evolve matter, knowledge of material creations, and the intelligence that guides such materialistic activities. Narad, you are quite competent to understand this.
Verse 25. तामसादापिर्भूतिर्देवीर्कुरु विकुरानन् अभुन्नभः विकुणावादन् भुन्नभः तस्य मात्रा गुणा शब्दो लिंग यद्रष्ट्य दृश्ययोः.
From the darkness of false ego, the first of the five elements, namely the sky, is generated. Its subtle form is the quality of sound, exactly as the seer is in relationship with the seen.
Verse 26 to 29. नभसोहथ विकुणादद्भुत स्पर्श गुणो निलः परान्वय शब्दामाश्च प्राण ओजसहो बलम् वायोरपि विकुणावात् काल कर्म स्वभावतः उद्पद्यत तेजो वै रूपवत स्पर्श शब्दवत् तेजस्तु विकुर्णावादासीदम्भो वदासीदम्भो रसात्मकम् रूपवत स्पर्शवच्चाम्भो घोषवच्च परान्वयात् विशेस्तु विकुर्णादम्भसो गन्धवान् भूत परान्वाद रसस्पर्श शब्द रूप गुणान्वितः.
Because the sky is transformed, the air is generated with the quality of touch, and by previous succession, the air is also full of sound and the basic principles of duration of life, sense perception, mental power, and bodily strength. When the air is transformed in course of time and nature's course, fire is generated, taking shape with a sense of touch and sound. Since fire is also transformed, there is a manifestation of water, full of juice and taste. As previously, it also has form and is also full of sound. And water, being transformed from all variegateness on earth, appears odorous and as previously becomes qualitatively full of juice, touch, sound, and form respectively.
Verse 30. वैकारिकान्मनो जग्ने देवा वैकारिका दश दिगवार्ता का प्रचेतोस्वी वहीन्द्रोपेन्द्र मित्र का.
From the mode of goodness, the mind is generated and becomes manifest, as also the 10 demigods controlling the bodily movements. Such demigods are known as the controller of directions, the controller of air, the sun god, the father of Daksha Prajapati, the Ashwini Kumaras, the fire god, the king of heaven, the worshipable deity in heaven, the chief of the Adityas, and Brahmaji, the Prajapati, all come into existence.
Verse 31. तैजसात् तु विकुर्णावाणी दिन्दयाणि दशा भवन् ज्ञानशक्ति क्रियाशक्तिर्बुद्धि प्राणश्च तेजसौ श्रोत्रं त्वग्द्रिणाग्जुहा वागेद्रो मेद्रात्रिपायवः.
By further transformation of the mode of passion, the sense organs like the ear, skin, nose, eyes, tongue, mouth, hands, genitals, legs, and the outlet for evacuating, together with intelligence and living energy, are all generated.
Verse 32. यदेते संगता भावा भूतेन्द्रिया मनोगुणा यता यतन निर्माणे न शेक्रुं ब्रूह ब्रह्मवित्तमम्.
Can you scroll up, please, Mataji? O Narad, best of the transcendentalists, the forms of the body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of nature, are not assembled.
Verse 33. तदा संहातं चान्योन्यं भगवच्छिक्ता चोदितः सदसत्त्वमुपादाय चोभयं शुशुजर्हि अधः.
Thus, when all this became assembled by force of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this universe certainly came into being by accepting both the primary and secondary causes of creation.
Verse 34. वर्षपुगः सस्तान्त्रे तन्दमुदकेशयं कालकर्म स्वभावास्थो जीवो जीवमजीवियत्.
Thus all the universes remain thousands of eons within the water, the causal ocean, and the load of living beings entering in each of them cause them to be fully animated.
Verse 35. Sa eva purustasmad danda nirvida nirgatah sahastro sahastro angeri bhava akshah sahastranana shirshavan.
The Lord Mahavishnu, although lying in the coastal ocean, came out of it, and dividing himself as Hiranyagarbha, he entered into each universe and assumed the Virat Rup with thousands of legs, arms, mouths, heads, etc.
Verse 36. Yasya havaya lokan kalpayanti manishinah katyadi bhiridhi saptodvar jaganadibihi.
Great philosophers imagine that the complete planetary systems in the universe are displays of the different upper and lower limbs of the universal body of the Lord.
Verse 37. Purushasya mukham brahma kshatrametasya bahavah urve varjasyo bhagvatah padam vyamam shudro vyajayat.
The Brahmanas represent his mouth, the Kshatriyas his arms, the Vaishyas his thighs, and the Sudras a bone of his legs.
Verse 38. Bhurlokah kalpitah padambya Bhuloka kalpita padambya bhulokasya nabitah Vrida sarvaloka urasa maharloka mahatmanah.
The lower planetary systems, up to the limit of the earthly stratum, are said to be situated in his legs. The middle planetary systems, beginning from Bhuvalok, are situated in his navel, and the still higher planetary systems, occupied by the demigods and highly cultured sages and saints, are situated in the chest of the Supreme Lord.
Verse 39. Grivayam janalokosya tapolokastanadvayat murdhavi satyalokestu brahmaloka sanatanah.
From the forefront of the chest up to the neck of the universal form of the Lord are situated the planetary systems named Janaloka and Tapaloka, where Satyaloka, the topmost planetary system, is situated on the head of the form. The spiritual planets, however, are eternal.
Verse 40 and 41. Tatkatya chatalam kala Tatkatya chatalam kritpalam Urbhayam vittalam viboho Janubhya sutalam Shuddham jangadabhyam tu talatalam Mahatalam tu golabhabyam Prapadabhyam rasatalam Patalam padatalata iti lokamaya puman.
My dear son Narad, know from me that there are 7 lowly planetary systems out of the total 14. The first planetary system, known as Atala, is situated on the waist. The second, Vitala, is situated on the thighs. The third, Sutala, on the knees. The fourth, Talatala, on the shanks. The fifth, Mahatala, on the ankles. The sixth, Rasatala, on the upper portion of the feet. And the seventh, Patala, on the soles of the feet. Thus the Virat form of the Lord is full of all planetary systems.
Verse 42. Bhurloka kalpita padambyam bhurvalokasya nabitah Svargaloka kalpito murgna iti valoka kalpana.
Others may divide the whole planetary system into 3 divisions, namely the lower planetary systems on the legs up to the earth, the middle planetary systems on the navel, and the upper planetary systems, Swaraloka. from the chest to the head of the Supreme Personality. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Sorry,
Thank you
Prabhuji,
so
I've
much.
got a couple of mispronunciation. Please forgive me.
That's very all right, Mataji. Thank you so much. It was very good. Pushti Mataji and Nishini Mataji. Thank you so much. Really grateful for so nicely reciting the verse. So before we begin our class today, we have a very special request from our dear Hitesh Prabhu. His mother, Srimati Bhanumati Kiri Mataji, is not well. She's seriously unwell. In fact, the doctors have advised disease has progressed. Time is limited, and we don't know when she might leave her body. So Hitesh Prabhu has humbly requested all of us, and I request also from our side, that we pray for Mataji for her onward journey back home, back to Godhead. Also, we have a special request that all of us devotees, if we can unmute and recite together 3 Maha Mantras praying for Hanumati Mataji. If we can all please unmute with all our hearts and all our prayers, we can say the Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, dear devotees. Much appreciated. So I will share my words. I'll share my screen now. Okay, so we are reading from Canto 2, Chapter 5, entitled The Cause of All Causes, and we'll be discussing verse number 21 to 23 today. So before we begin Srimad Bhagavatam, let's recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaphayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So, verse number 21. It's going to be three verses and also the purport. So just recite the Mangalacharan, small Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamani Kadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamadam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Vinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paschata Deshadarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Makam Karoti Vatalam Pangam Nangai Tegiram Kripatam Vande Shri Guru Nimpa. Verse number 21. Kalam karma sabhavam cha mayeshu mayaya swaya atman yadrichaya praptam vibhusrupadade. Synonyms: kalam, eternal time; karma, the fate of the living entity. It's interesting. Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada translated karma as the fate of living entity. Actually, it's the effect. But Srila Prabhupada has a reason why he translates the particular word in a particular way. It just will make sense as we read the whole translation. So, bhavam, nature, cha, also, maya, potency, ishaha, the controller, mayaya, by the energy, swaya, of his own, atman, atmani, unto his self, yadrichaya, independently, praptam, being merged in, vibhu bhushuhu, appearing differently, upadade, accepted for being created again. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Translation. The Lord, who is the controller of all energies, thus creates by His own potency, eternal time, the fate of all living entities and their particular nature, for which they were created, and He again merges them independently. So this second canto and third canto are mostly discussing about the creation, sarga visarga, so primary creation and secondary creation. So for the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first two are sarga and visarga. But as we go toward the end of the 10th chapter, there is Shukadeva Goswami will explain this Mahapuran, Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran has 10 topics. That's why it is one of the greatest Puranas. It covers all the aspects and all the different topics, Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Utayah. Then there is Manavantara, Ishanukatha, Nirodha Mukti, Ashraya. Ashraya is the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all these verses, in all the topics, we will see that how they are creating the mood for the readers and how it's guiding the readers to take Ashraya or the shelter of the Supreme Lord. So creation is quite technical as we go ahead. I mean, I don't know, I can claim to say that I understand much of it, but we will all attempt to put our best effort and try to understand. Sure, Prabhupada is made it easier for us as much as he could have for us, and it's just we try and attempt. So the Lord, who is the controller of all energies, thus creates by his own potency. What does he create? Three things: eternal time, the fate of all living entities. The fate is translated as karma. Karma. So he's creating the kalam, karma, and swabhava. Swabhava is what? Nature. Swabhava, I think we understand, a lot of us, is nature. So how does he create nature? When we talk about it, the nature is already there. Living entities, before they merge into Mahavishnu, they carry the nature, the swabhava, and the karma with them. So for which they were created. So they were created to do for what? To fulfill their desires. They have a particular nature for all of us. When they say they, actually all of us, jivas, we have our karma, which is anadi karma. Anadi karma is defined as anadi. There is no beginning of the karma, because it's a very difficult topic to understand, but we have to accept that this karma was anadi. So there was never time when we didn't have karma, and we are all, due to our karmic reactions, we take birth again, and we die, create more karma, and then again create our particular swabhava, and as per that, we take another body. And after all this multi after millions of births, we get merged into the body of Mahavishnu. And then what is kept intact is our own Svabhava as we have developed, and also the fate, karma, the karma that we want to perform in this material world. It's all retained as it is. When the Lord then once again creates, He again gives us back what we have forgotten. He's very merciful on us. He's not forgetting anything. So we get our nature once again, and He facilitates as we go ahead in this topic, how the Lord is going to create this material nature. I mean, really nature is one of the aspects, all the other aspects of it. So there are 6 questions that was asked by Parikshit Maharaj, and this is the question being answered is Yata Srishtam. How is it created? The process of creation starts from this verse, number 21, and goes on until verse number 35. I'm going to put a flow diagram later on. I've taken from this book, Bhagavad Subhodhini, and that's quite useful. So we had 6 questions. Yad Rupa, what is the symptom of the universe? Yad Adhishtanam, what is its shelter? Yat Shrishtam, how is it created? Yat Samstham, how is it conserved? Yat Param, what it depends on? Yat Che, what is it composed of, or the ingredients of this creation? So beginning this answer by Lord Brahma from this verse as to how is it created. So this is the how answer. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The creation of the material world wherein the conditioned souls are allowed to act subordinately by the Supreme Lord takes place again and again after being repeatedly annihilated.
Material creation is something.
Yes, Harivardhan Prabhu, do you want to read this? The material creation is something like a cloud in the unlimited sky. So unlimited sky, Prabhupada also explained in other places that this whole of this creation, 3/4 of the creation is spiritual and 1/4 is material. This material creation, also sometimes referred as Mahat Tattva, is like a cloud in the vast creation of the Lord. The real sky is the spiritual sky, eternally filled with the rays of the Brahma Jyoti, and a portion of this unlimited sky is covered by Mahat Tattva, cloud of material creation, in which the conditioned souls who want to lord it against the will of the Lord are put into play as they desire under the control of the Lord by the agency of His external energy. That's a long sentence. Breathe this down. So the main point to note here is the Lord is this Mahat Tattva is a portion of the unlimited sky. And what is the Mahat Tattva comprising of? Conditioned souls. Who are the conditioned souls? All of us, maybe some of you not, but most of us. And why are we conditioned? Who want to lord it against the will of the Lord. Krishna Bhuli Jiva Anadi Bahirmukha Ata Eva Maya Tare Deha Sansara Dukha. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami explained that. So we are Krishna Bahirmukha, we are looking away from Krishna. Anadi, actually in the karma, Anadi karma, we have been looking away from the Lord And because of that, we are put into this material body again and again. And why are we put? Because we have a desire. So because play are put into play as they desire. All of us have some desire to fulfill in the material body, in this material world. We develop the desires as we go on. As we take birth, we carry a lot of desires that we want to fulfill. So Lord facilitates the material body to the conditioned souls because they want to, or all of us want to enjoy away from the Lord. It is our desire, so we can't blame the Lord. A lot of people blame the Lord for what's happening here. Look what's happening in my life or people's life, this and that. All sorts of arguments coming. But Lord is only facilitating our desires. And obviously everything is under the control of the Lord. And he does not personally participate in everything, but he's got the agency of external energy. Mother Durga is managing this whole show. So it will be a good reflection for ourselves. It's very interesting. If we can spend some time, maybe I can ask on the call itself, like if you can just take some time to think about our own swabhava. We all have certain nature and it's conditioned nature. Conditioning is what? All the anarthas that we have. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Matsar, all the 6 anarthas that we have. All our varieties, we are all have different varieties. Like none of us look the same. None of us probably look, none of us also have the similar desire. Varieties, like it's unlimited variety. Not only the 8.4 million of these different species are created by the Lord, but also interestingly, every individual seems to have very typical nature somehow. We can actually think about it, and we can, and this is the power of the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's purport, and we can introspect on these aspects and say, why am I here stuck in the material world? What is the karma that I want to, what are the actions I want to perform? What are my desires? What is my swabhava? I think it will become easier for us to understand and accept that, yes, it is true actually, that I don't want to be with the Lord. I have some desires and I have to fulfill those desires the way I want to fulfill. Although I'm not in the control situation, I'm mostly controlled and I'm not the controller. It is a good introspection to do. And this is like the, like if we, how the Bhagavatam is breaking up everything. The questions are so amazing questions and the way they are answered, so scientific. If you have to say, then like our body all look the same. If you want to understand what is inside the body, then we have to, bisect the body and then we can see the different parts inside. So this is the whole details of the creation. As the rainy season appears, I'm going to carry on. Yes. As the rainy season appears and disappears regularly, the creation takes place and is again annihilated under the control of the Lord, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8:19. So the creation and annihilation of the material world is a regular action of the Lord, just to allow the conditioned souls to play as they like and thereby create their own fate of being differently created again in terms of their independent desires at the time of annihilation. Simple. The creation therefore takes place at a historical date. Again, this is a lot of people ask this question, how did we end up there? When was that first created? Because nobody explains. As we are accustomed to think of everything which has a beginning in our tiny experience, because we cannot relate, because we can only relate with the body and what we see in our experience. All that we can think is that there must be a beginning. I was birthed I was born on a certain day, then I started my activities, or the other person was born, or something started. There was always a time then which things have begin. But this is anadi, means there is no beginning. We cannot go back. So, such a time. The process of creation and annihilation is called anadi, or without reference to date regarding a time the creation first took place. Because the duration of even a partial creation is 8,640,000,000 years. So how can we define? So we probably live here in, I don't know, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years. And then we forget everything and we take another body and again start another probably 80, 50, 70, 80, 100, whatever, how many years someone may live, depending on what type of body we get. So we can imagine if only a partial creation is 8,640,000,000, what can we remember? So it is eternity. So there's no point trying to understand when did it start, how did it happen for the first time. The law of creation is, however, as mentioned in the Vedic literature, that it is created at certain intervals and again annihilated by the will of the Lord. The whole material or even the spiritual creation is a manifestation of the energy of the Lord, just as the light and heat of a fire are different manifestation of the fire's energy. So the both material and spiritual creation is the manifestation of the energy of the Lord. The Lord therefore exists in his impersonal form by such expansion of energy, and the complete creation rests on his impersonal feature. So what gives example sometimes the government, we can feel when we walk on the road, drive on the road, there is law and order. So you can understand there is a government, there's a king, or there's a prime minister, or whoever, there's someone who is running the show. So you can experience that by the impersonal form. Just by understanding there is a law, we know there is someone who is created the law, who is maintaining the law. So just by understanding this creation, you can understand there is Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, he keeps himself distinct from such creation as the Puranam, or complete. This is the invocation mantra of Sri Upanishad. Anyone would like to recite? Does anyone?
Is it Purnamadam, Purnamidam?
Om Purnamada Purnamidam
Purnamadam,
Purnata Purnam Udachyate
Purnamadascha
Purnamavadaya
Purnamavashishyate.
Purnamavashishyate. Thank you. So, so no one should wrongly think that his personal feature is not existent due to his impersonal unlimited expansions. Because we can't see, we can see the law working, we can see the impersonal existence of the Lord, because how everything is created and everything is working in order. We can't imagine, we should not be thinking wrongly that scientists sometimes think, because I can't see this, because they are only the Prataks Praman, they only want to see with their imperfect senses, or have maybe some anuman, some guess, or maybe some inference to say that there is no Lord because I can't see him. But there is the Supreme God, who is under whose supervision everything is working. Maya Dakshina Suyate Satcharacharam. The impersonal expansion is a manifestation of his energy, and he is always in his personal feature despite his innumerable unlimited expansion of impersonal energies. Bhagavad Gita 9.5.7. We don't have time to go through all those. For human intelligence, it is very difficult to conceive how the whole creation rests on his expansion of energy, but the Lord has given a very good example in Bhagavad Gita. It is said that although the air and atoms rest within the huge expansion of the sky, which is like the resting reservoir of everything materially created, still the sky remains separate and unaffected. This is one of the analogies Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. There's so many analogies in Bhagavad Gita. This just makes such a beautiful example, like how do we understand? This is the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna explains, Akashatu Vayu Sarvatra Go Mahan. So simple to follow. If we see this example, analogies are so important. Like, just like you can see in this vast expansion of sky, there is air and atoms, rest, everything is there. But the sky still remains separate and unaffected. Similarly, all the Supreme Lord maintains everything created by his expansion of energy. He always remains separate. This is accepted even by Shankaracharya, the great advocate of the impersonal form of the Absolute. He says, Narayana Paro Vyaktat. Or Narayan exists separately apart from the impersonal creative energy. The whole creation thus merges within the body of transcendental Narayan at the time of annihilation. And the creation emanates from his body again with the same unchanging categories of fate and individual nature. Again, karma and swabhava. The individual living entities being part and parcel of the Lord are sometimes called as Atma, qualitatively one in spiritual constitution. But because such living entities are apt to be attracted to the material creation, actively and subjectively, they are therefore different from the Lord. So that's the difference between the Lord and the living entities. Living entities are, we are his energy, we are Tathastha Shakti. We have the both options to look at Krishna or look at Maya. But we could be influenced by the Maya or attracted by the Maya. The Lord cannot. So, sorry, the time is short. I'm going to go to the next verse. Kala guna vyatikara parinama svabhavatah karmano janma mahata purushadhishtad abhut purushadhishtitad abhut. After the incarnation of the first Purush, Karna Navashai Vishnu, the Mahat Tattva, or the principles of material creation, takes place. Then time is manifested, and in course of time the three qualities appear. Nature means the three qualitative appearances, they transform into activities. So without the three aspects of nature, three qualitative appearances, what are the three? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Unless that is there, the activities cannot start. Just like, very simple now, we just, this is spring starting, so we are now putting the seeds in the pots. We did that a month ago. How it works, like the seeds are put there in the pot, in the soil, and as the time goes, allow some time. Similarly, Lord glances at Pradhan, and then Mahatattva is created, and after some time, what happens? The time is also, actually time is the column. We'll come to that in a. Okay, I'll show you the flow in a minute, and we'll talk about it. So, by the omnipotency of the similar, the whole material creation evolves by the process of transformation and reaction under one after another. By the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord, the whole material creation evolves by the process of transformation and reactions one after another. And by the same omnipotency, they are wound up again one after another and conserved in the body of Supreme. Kala or time is a synonym of nature and is a transformed manifestation of the principles of material creation. That's a difficult sentence to understand. As such, Kala may be taken as the first cause of all creation, and by the transformation of nature, different activities of material world become visible. These activities may be taken up as the natural instinct of each and every living being, or even of the inert objects. This instinct is there even in the inert object, like stone, like how the stone is hard, water, like water nature, they're all They have their own instinct or nature. And after the manifestation of activities, there are varieties of products and byproducts of the same nature. Originally, these are all due to the Supreme Lord. The Vedanta Sutra and the Bhagavatam thus begin with the absolute truth as the beginning of all creations, Janmadhyasya Yataha. Verse number 23. Mahattastu Vikrudvana Raja Sattvopa Tama Pradhana Abhavad Dravya Jnana Kriyatmakaha. So three Shaktis, Dravya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. We talk about these. Translation: material activities are caused by the Mahatattvas being agitated. At first, there is transformation of the modes of goodness and passion, and later, due to the mode of ignorance, matter, its knowledge, and different activities of material knowledge come into play. So material activities are caused by the Mahatattvas being agitated. At first, there is transformation of the modes of goodness and passion, and later, due to the mode of ignorance, matter, its knowledge, and different activities of material knowledge come into play. Purport will make it a bit more clear. Material creations of every description are more or less due to the development of the mode of passion. The passion means some action, to do something. Now today, nobody will explain this. The Mahatattva is the principle of material creation, and when it is agitated by the will of the Supreme, at first, the modes of passion and goodness are prominent. And afterwards, the mode of passion being generated in due course by material activities of different varieties becomes prominent, and the living entities are thus involved more and more in ignorance. Brahma is the representation of the mode of passion, and Vishnu is the representation of the mode of goodness, while the mode of ignorance is represented by Lord Shiva, the father of material activities. So Lord Shiva is the father of material activities. That's why we have this representation of Lord Shiva in Shivalinga and the Yoni of Mother Durga. So Lord Shiva is the glance of Mahavishnu, also called Mahakal. The glance what we read before is the time. Lord glances at Pradhan, and the glance is described as Lord Shiva. So the Lord impregnates the material nature with the glance, and that glance is Lord Shiva. So he is the father. Material nature is called the mother, and the initiator of the materialistic life is Father Lord Shiva. So now we understand Lord Shiva, there is, in India, because less knowledgeable people differentiate Shaivite, Vaishnavite, all these. But now we understand that there is no difference. Lord Shiva is that Brahma Samhita experiences, because touched by the material energy, Shiva is like yogurt and Krishna is like milk. You can convert milk into yogurt, but you can't convert back yogurt into milk. So Lord Shiva is the initiator or the father of the materialistic life. All material creation by the living entities is therefore initiated by the mode of passion. With the advancement of the duration of life in a particular millennium, the different modes act by gradual development. In the age of Kali, when the mode of passion is most prominent, material activities of different varieties in the name of advancement of human civilization takes place. And living entities become more and more involved in forgetting the real identity, the spiritual nature. You can see how the material nature is, how the world is working as so-called advancement of civilization. Simple life, which was there, in the old days, just to fill the belly and have a shelter on the head. And people, were happy living in their little villages. And now that's this passion, because the world is now run by mostly people who are in passion or ignorance. There is no Brahmanical, no goodness advisories. There are no kings, the Raj Rishis who are pious kings. So the world is run by mostly Vaishyas and Shudras, as Prabhupada explains. Vaishyas and Shudras, what will they do? Because they're more of passion and more of ignorance is predominant there. They just want more material development, unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Prabhupada explains many, many times. Complete waste of time and energy, because in the end, nobody is able to take anything anywhere. Anyway, everyone has to die. And even if they don't die, there is always, Adi Daivik, like situation coming up, and people have to leave. Everybody has to go. But even then, because the passion is so much, we see that more and more tall buildings, people are running to the cities. There is no quality of life, no quality of air, water, food, nothing. What we get today is just, even the food that we have is almost half poison. And if you go to any place like, which is, we mostly go to India, but if you go to villages in India where there is not so much of pollution in the air, water, and the soil, taste, the food is so different. The water is so different. Even here, if you go to Scotland, up in the mountains, the water is so nice, tastes so good. So what are we really getting out of this? This is the age of Kali. Only destruction. By a slight cultivation of mode of goodness, a glimpse of spiritual nature is perceived. But due to the prominence of mode of passion, the mode of goodness becomes adulterated. Slight cultivation mode of goodness. What happens when we start, associating with devotees in the temple? We go in the temple, we get that experience of goodness. We get like, now breathing. Suddenly we feel so good. Oh, why is the happiness? Where is the happiness coming from? In the beginning, it's only thing that we've done is we tasted a little bit of goodness. Yeah. With that taste of goodness, we can experience such a relief. So, what to speak of, staying in goodness? But the time today is so hard, difficult. Everyone has to run in the mode of passion and ignorance. Therefore, one cannot transcend the limits of material modes, and therefore realization of the Lord, who is always transcendental to the modes of material nature, becomes very difficult for the living entities, even though prominently situated in the mode of goodness through cultivation of various methods. Even in mode of goodness, Prabhupada explaining is difficult. Because Lord is adokshaja, beyond the material senses. Getting too late. In other words, the gross matter is adhibhutam, the maintenance is adhidaivam, and the initiator of the material activity is called adhyatmam. In the material world, these three principles act as prominent features, namely as the raw material, its regular supplies, and its use in different varieties of material creation for sense enjoyment by the bewildered entities. Quite loaded. Well, but I think we can discuss for a long time on these concepts. But I believe there's also going to be bhajan, so I'm really sorry we are late today. So we have to end this here. But my humble request would be for us, all of us, to introspect a little bit about our own swabhava, tendency to act in a particular way, which sometimes is more predominant or predominantly passion and ignorance. And we can understand why we are suffering in this material world. Sorry, Mataji, now I think we can start.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, my Danot Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhuji, we have a beautiful bhajan today. The Mamta Mataji would be singing the beautiful bhajan. But before Mamta Mataji starts, if Shriji Kishori Mataji is okay to do the English recitation. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O Lord Gauranga, please do not neglect to show me your mercy, making me your own very property. Kindly keep me situated at the reddish soles of your feet. With the intention of attaining your feet, I have utterly renounced everything. Now I have taken full shelter of your soothing lotus feet. Whether I am related to this family lineage or that family lineage, I have completely abandoned them all. I beg you to mercifully keep me by your feet, calling me your own. Vasudev Ghosha says, since I have tightly grasped hold of your feet, please keep me here by always bestowing their soothing shade. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Mamta Mataji, when you're ready, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sriji Kishori Mataji. I think
Hare
you're
Krishna.
Hari Bol,
Hare
Hari Bol.
Krishna to everyone. I'm really sorry. I'm basically little bit on the way, but I stopped at a place, so just had to. I was committed to do this bhajan. Please accept my humble obeisances. I'm really sorry to keep you all waiting. Just try to sing this song. It's a beautiful song, but hope I'll be able to do some justice. Tomorrow being Gaura Puja, give this song and sing this song in the name of Lord Gauranga. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्या कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्या नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्या नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः गौरांगो তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি হো গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি হো আপন করিয়া রাঙ্গা আপন করিয়া রাঙ্গা চরণে রাখি হো আপন করিয়া রাঙ্গা চরণে রাখি হো গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়ি হো তোমার চরণ লাগি তোবাতে আগিন তোমার চরণ লাগি তোবাতে আগিন শীতল চরণ শীতল চরণ পাইয়া চরণ লাইনু শীতল চরণ পাইয়া শরণ লাইন গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও একুলে ও কুলে মই দিলু তিলাঞ্জলি একুলে ও কুলে মই দিলু তিলাঞ্জলি রাখিও চরণে মোরে রাখিও চরণে মোরে আপনার বলি রাখিও চরণ মোরে আপনার বলি গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও বাসুদেব ঘোষ বলে চরণে ধরিয়া বাসুদেব ঘোষ বলে চরণে ধরিয়া কৃপা করি রাখ মোরে পদ ছায়া দিয়া কৃপা করে রাখ মোরে পদ ছায়া দিয়া গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও আপনা করিয়া রাঙ্গা আপনা করিয়া রাঙ্গা চরণে রাখি ও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও গৌরাঙ্গ তুমি মোরে দয়া না ছাড়িও হরি বল নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল হরি বল निताय गौरा हरि बोल। लॉर्ड चैतन्य की जय, श्री गौरंग की जय, श्री नित्यानंद जी की जय। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mamta. That was amazing. Very
Thank you
nice.
for Ji.
Thank you so much. Jai. Okay, Hare Krishna devotees, wish you all a very happy Gaur Purnima tomorrow. A wonderful Krishna conscious week ahead. Thank you so much. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha
कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण।
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
Hare Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji,
Thank
for the
you.
wonderful class.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.